You can be so happy. We're going to get off your screens, get out your ears, and we're going to put 2 new people in them because, of course, they're going to be talking overall of the footage. Walshy, semi-finals happening. And the winner side of things, FaZe versus TSM. How are we feeling?
I think we're in for a banger of a match. I mean, both these teams have had pretty solid roads out here. One thing I would like to highlight is even though TSM did take a loss in pool play, they took a game off Rebellion, and Rebellion are looking nasty this event.
And the loss wasn't to just anybody. It was to Optic Gaming, right? Like the other second best team. Even though they find themselves in the elimination bracket, it was only due to Shopify. So you kind of get to wash that off. This is going to be a highly contested series. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are in this venue, buckle up. I expect, with the series layout the way it looks, this series to go the distance. FaZe having gone to 2 Game 5 so far throughout their tournament. They've proven they have the ice. TSM undefeated in Slayers as well. And as we take a look at the series layout, Dave, I love the idea that we start off with CTF Origin, because as we go throughout the series, especially the 2 Slayers, those are predominantly a camo on the map, but not a ton of power weapons. So we'll see these guys gun it up with bandits out.
Yeah, no, they will be flying across the map. No question on how fast TSM can play this game. But you brought it before, saying Lattice, thinking it's not one of FaZe's strongest ones. So TSM's goal is to extend this series. Might not be looking too favorable on game 1 on a CTF, but that's why we got a 5-game series ahead of us. Yeah,
to me, this CTF right here is the game of the series for both of these 2 teams. It gives you such an advantage going into that Street Slayers game 2. FaZe 3-0 versus TSM this season. Can TSM rewrite the history books later as the season comes to a close? This is the last major before the World Championship in Seattle, and we need to see the best of these 2 teams. TSM are no strangers to going through winner semifinals and getting into a winner's bracket finals. It's usually there they slip up. So they have won this spot in the bracket several times. Obviously, FaZe has been here, done that, had the bag of chips while doing so. So I expect this to be a banger. Both these 2 teams playing at such a high level. And as we kick off game 1, I want to start off with my player to watch for TSM, and that's a beautiful job. Aries carries in the back. Druk has got to be an X factor for TSM, but he's immediately removed from the map. It's trades with Druk and TriPPPeY to start off.
Not sure if you meant X factor by that being above his Spartan at the end, as he just got picked off instantly towards those rockets. But SnakeBite moving on in over towards the elbow. That's going to those rockets, and that's a quick flag grab by FaZe. They get 4 kills and 1 flagpole, and they're across the map.
Yeah, just 4 kills for FaZe Clan, similar to what we saw from Shopify. Are they able to punch this flag, and the flag carrier actually goes down? SnakeBite still at the other team's elbow, not really able to dictate what's going on in his own elbow. No player from TSM able to hop on that return, and SnakeBite's opting to still stay on this elbow. One player, Manny, has made it to that flag return, and if he's able to get that return, maybe a mistake from SnakeBite, but Manny gets taken down. TriPPPeY able to kill Manny, grab the flag, get the touch right before it returns, and punch it in. It's a 1-0 lead for FaZe, but here comes a potential counter cap opportunity, you would think, but it's actually Druk, the only player alive on the map right now. He's going to create some space and reset the map in TSM's favor, but FaZe come out swinging fast.
That's a full sniper he's got right there. 5 bullets in the chamber, ready to go here for Druk. They're in a comfortable spot, even though they both have 4 alive. Now only 3 down actually for FaZe. As you blink, they all go down. It's going to be 2 alive for FaZe as this flag is pulled. And Druk, no stranger to this position here, going towards back flag, trying to avoid these elbow and cave spawn damagers.
You really want Druk to be able to pull this flag, or someone on TSM to be able to pull this flag, because they have slayed a few rounds of FaZe Clan, and you think it's a matter of time before they get on their own feet right here. Druk gets taken down. Taulek with perfect shots on the SnakeBite. Still no flag to be pulled. Great defense from FaZe Clan, and maybe if you're Druk there, after you hit that beautiful shot in cave, you think about running that flag, because right now, you kind of get a reset of the map, and all of that's a wash.
I'm actually really surprised there wasn't the pull there, because sometimes when you're in doubt, especially if you pull off a kill like that, you don't just assume the team has the perfect setup as they're coming off spawn. You don't think they always have the guaranteed angle, but it felt like he gave them more credit than they deserve.
Yeah.
He just instantly went towards the back of the base and is trying to wait for his teammates to come in for the next pull.
Taulek going to be overextending towards the flag. TriPPPeY finds him, knocks him down in a shield. Easy kill for Pznguin to pick up. Unfortunately, TriPPPeY's going down. In the meantime, though, it's another overextension on the elbow side that SnakeBite amongst all the chaos, has been running the flag, and now FaZe find themselves up 2-0. The second pair of rockets just came up, and TSM almost in a must-have situation to get these rockets because they find themselves in a deep hole here already in game 1.
This is frustrating for TSM because they're knocking out Slay. They're even in Slays here. It's just perfect pulls every single time from FaZe, and they escort it along the runway every single time.
Look at this.
Pznguin jumping and jiving, pushing this all the way back towards his elbow.
TriPPPeY's the one that got those rockets. Pznguin with the flag in hand, already back to his flag. And FaZe giving you the best Shopify Rebellion impression in this game so fast. You blink, you go to the bathroom, you go get your popcorn from the microwave. The game 1 is over. FaZe Clan lead this series 1-0.
Clinical. So efficient there from FaZe. Any kills they got, any opportunity they got, pulling that flag. 3 for 3 on flag pulls and captures.
And you got to credit the rocket control, right, Dave? I mean, it was 2 different sets of rockets guaranteed those flags. You could tell they prioritized those elbow runs as all 3 flags were run through that elbow, but I mean, such a quick game. It says 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That's even with the intros and the outros, I believe. So, I mean, FaZe doing a very impressive impression of Shopify Rebellion, and that's got to give you a lot of confidence kicking this series off if you're a FaZe fan.
Yeah, I honestly had a couple question marks of FaZe going in the series. One thing that Snipe down, and many of the analysts have brought up as we're going through matches, they've gone to a lot of game 5s. They've gone to game 5s against teams that we don't feel as the same caliber as FaZe or as TSM. So what's going to happen when they fight a team like TSM? And we got our answer here. They step up to the challenge when they need to.
I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, it's just game 1 of this best of 5, and although FaZe have had some great games throughout this tournament, they have also, to Dave's point, gone the distance twice already. The rocket control, as we take a look at the highlights, was incredible. The use of the elbow run, how quickly you can G-slide from one side to the other, that route is such a short route. You really thought that this was the only opportunity TSM was going to have. I guess Druk's half shield, he doesn't feel comfortable enough to run it, but that window missed is something that TSM will look back on and say, we got to get that flag on the move, and maybe they get a cap, but it was all FaZe after that.
Yeah, I was going to say, their question isn't as much, how do we get that 1 cap there? The question is, how did 3 caps happen in that time frame? It felt like that replay was basically just watching the entire replay of the entire game.
As TSM prioritized the snipe side of the map, I feel like FaZe was favoring the rocket side, and they were just quicker to the flagpole. FaZe did just enough on the snipe side to defend overextenders to stop them from going in, and in the meantime, you had multiple members of your own team overextending towards that elbow, getting that flagpole, and once it gets going, it gets scary for those angles. But let's stop talking about game 1. FaZe are going to find themselves up 1-0, don't get me wrong. But we got a lot of Halo left to play here. The lights are bright on Saturday night, and game 2 is going to be Streets, Slayer, first to 50 kills, and both teams, according to the desk and the stats, both teams are undefeated in Slayers. One of those is going to have to give here. It's first to 50 kills.
Both those statements can't hold true after this game right here. And you know, after a little disrespect on TSM there, a little bit on the objective play, they're saying, hey, you guys want to step outside, take this one to the streets? How about this next round? But you don't seem to be laughing so much anymore on this challenge.
Yeah, we'll see if they do a better job here. You know it's going to be a much longer game, no matter what the case scenario is. And FaZe don't have the opportunity to really prioritize an objective and manipulate how they want to finesse TSM around this map. TSM get more of an opportunity to play on their own terms. What are you looking at from TSM strategically to kind of counter what we know of FaZe's play style on a map like Street Slayer?
I mean, they just get to play their lives. They get to hit the gas when they need to. I don't think we're going to be seeing as many, let's say, unnecessary overextensions or flanks without purpose here from TSM. No, there's no reason for them to charge without purpose. So we're going to see them playing a bit more around the camo, playing their lives a little bit more. We're going to see, believe it or not, a much longer game than a 3-minute game that we saw from the objective game in game 1.
We're getting an overview of live fire, but make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, the series layout did say Streets, so I'm going to continue to believe that it is Streets. And as I see just in the corner of my eye, Street Slayer loading, I'm excited to get into this. And the players for me to watch on the FaZe side, Dave, have got to be TriPPPeY and SnakeBite. Their slaying prowess so far through their team Slayers have been dominant, and they are the reason they have clutched up in game 5s. Will that rear its head once again here in game 2? Here we go. Big game TriPPPeY on Saturday night.
TriPPPeY near the caution, spotting SoulSnipe, who's just trying to make his way through tires and get a flank over on the camo unsuccessfully. So that's gonna be the first pick here for FaZe. Do they decide to charge after it? In fact, they get a second pick onto Manny.
Yeah, Manny just slides out with the Stalker rifle. Usually you can get the level of DPS to maybe turn that fight, but it's great shots from TriPPPeY to start this one off. A 3-0 lead and camo control in the hands of SnakeBite to start this game off for FaZe Clan.
So yeah, looking like TSM wanting to wrap up the speed of this and force some action, but not doing it in some of the correct ways. Feels like there's some, like I said, there's ways to do aggression that can be more concentrated and safer versus just G-sliding out and trying to fight the first battle you see.
Yeah, they need to find their footing, and they need to do it quickly. Removing SnakeBite with that camo from the map is a great start. As SoulSnipe picks up a kill on the TriPPPeY, makes it just a one-kill game. Make that a tie game as they start to push towards the tire side of the map, and right now, Lucid's kind of by himself at this situation. They know players are overextending towards the tower, and they're going to wrap this map, but you got to be careful because there's so many angles that multiple players from TSM will have now that control is in their favor. Here comes Druk. G-sliding in like Druk does. Can he buy some time? No, Druk gets a nade, and that's usually a bad sign for TSM when Druk dies first.
Yep, also a player flanking in from the ATM. Looks like TriPPPeY's able to get into a 1v1 scuffle now with SoulSnipe, but he's running for his life. He has to feel like he's hunted and he's outnumbered.
You'll
he
take
gets
that
a
trade.
Great trade.
Yeah.
TriPPPeY knowing the number disadvantage there, goes for the 3-shot melee and trades a 1-for-1.
Almost a mistake by Manny to let that distance be that close with the last player alive on that side of the map. Look at how FaZe have tried to get into Tram. Now they're trying to push towards B. It's going to be a little bit of a split here. TSM slow the game down. It becomes a stalemate right now, and SnakeBite is the furthest player up for FaZe, and he's your player to watch as far as who's overextended on the map. Can TSM solo him out before this camo comes up? Because that will be what moves all of these chess pieces from the stalemate.
SnakeBite, no stranger playing patient here. Been in many different iterations of Halo, many different stalemates, waiting for the right moment to strike, just coiled up here over in the arcade.
And I actually like this by SnakeBite. He needs to kind of rotate to where he can get some eyes on camo, but actually a lot of responsibility to try and hold B. There's multiple players trying to push him. He does knock one down to no shield. In the meantime, Lucid's able to pick up a kill. Taulek able to trade that out. SnakeBite not able to get a 2-shot melee off. He is able to knock a player to no shield, but the battle for camo is what's ensuing right now. TriPPPeY finds a kill to make up the difference. It's Pznguin with the camo this time around, but they find themselves down 1 now because of TSM's ability to control that situation.
This one's probably going to pick here onto SoulSnipe. Look at these nades going up by TriPPPeY, or from Pznguin. But not able to clear him out of arcade just yet. And what should have been a free or easy pick, all of a sudden has 2 players from FaZe, no shields, recovering in the courtyard.
Yeah, look how aggressive TSM is being, even though Pznguin has this camo. Pznguin chooses to shoot the player top Ivy, a player bottom stairs. Trade some damage out with Pznguin, but good teamwork from FaZe. Great angles from FaZe to be able to clean up both of those kills Pznguin was focused on right there. There's going to be a player outside caution right now, and SoulSnipe takes down Pznguin in a massive kill.
And look at that, just slight hesitation. Pznguin was actually ready to turn left to look towards cafe spawns. Gets shot from caution and gets picked off. Great heads-up play, but just goes to show those minor errors. Turning the incorrect way for a split second costs these players their lives.
Trouble. Left, right, center, everyone's surrounding him. He gets a stick off, but a 3-kill lead for TSM. The pressure from TSM is clearly a strategy that they're trying to implement. They are trying to swarm these players before they can really get on their feet. FaZe Clan having a tough time so far, dealing with the amount of pressure so far. A 4-kill lead is extended for TSM.
And I love this play by SoulSnipe. And you see this time and time again from TSM where sometimes they'll dive in, they'll create some action, and they'll dive away and go, you know, relocate over at Tram. In a case like this, you have members of FaZe just freaking out saying, Neon's over at bench, where? And all of a sudden, he's now the anchor. He's now over at Stalker.
Yeah, we've seen great changes of pace so far from TSM throughout this game. That's a great point, Dave. Although this time around, FaZe doesn't sit back and let TSM push. It's FaZe's turn to put the pedal to the metal. They pick up 3 kills, only answer 1 back. It's a 2-kill game. Taulek with the red gun in the back of Commando right now. Tries to fend off Lucid, does get a trade, but when you have that red gun, you do not want to go down. Taulek was surrounded, however. Still TSM fighting out of Tram right now, but 2 unanswered kills for FaZe Clan will tie this game up at 20.
20 apiece. Druk has a nice flank here. He's going to keep pushing. Notices that he also has someone on C stairs, so now that he's surrounded, he's just trying to get a pick off on somebody.
He's stuck. He's stuck. He gets sandwiched. A great job by SnakeBite to stay alive. Time gets bought, but in the meantime, Taulek slips away with the camo.
And that's going to be a win here for TSM. Even though they're down by 1 kill, Taulek's going to make some work of this. He just needs to have teammates stay alive. And I like this pressure action from FaZe, not letting TSM get their setup and get their push.
Yeah, can they take down Taulek before he can get out of there? He's able to get a kill, and that's exactly what I wanted Taulek to do. Relocate. He gets great damage on the Lucid. It's going to get a lot of information. The FaZe are all over towards the purple side and the Ivy side of the map. And look at the cutoff from the middle of the map. Already in the bottom of Tram, 2 go down, and TSM continuing to roll now.
That's gotta be such a comforting feeling, playing on TSM, and as you get damage, just knowing how quick your teammates are gonna fly and pick off those kills before the shields regenerate.
Oh no, we see one player missing from the scoreboard, and that's usually not a good sign. It was a little bit of control in TSM's favor, but I believe we're gonna get a little bit of a reset. We'll figure out what the score was. It was a very close game.
Yeah, about a 1-kill game or so. We'll find out. That's for the TOs to decide. That's not our job. They don't pay us enough for that.
Just to get a quick snapshot of the stats, though, TriPPPeY continuing the Slayer prowess, 12, 6, and 5. As they were just down 1 to 2 kills, we'll get an official stat as we get a reset of this lobby. A player did lag out, but, I mean, TriPPPeY continuing to show his dominance in Slayers. What is it about Slayers that allows TriPPPeY to have such success even against some of the best teams in the world?
That's a great question. I wonder if he just plays a different level of selflessness in OBJ games where he's just trying to help too much on the objective or support a teammate so much to help for something that's not showing on the stat screen, whether that's, hey, I got this extra touch on the flag or rally on the flag or escort this or delayed a few seconds. Those don't show on the stat screen. Whereas in a Slayer, he's like, hey, I need to kill. I need to not die.
Kill them
and yes, I'm going to help a
they
teammate if
kill
I
me.
can save them, or if I can give some support when there's a needed push. But other times, he's playing that objective in that game, which is just kill and do not die.
I always have high praise for TriPPPeY. I mean, he has had one hell of an infinite career, a world champion, several event wins, several second places, even last year. I mean, it was every second place. But what he does in big moments is why he's earned the name Big Game Trip. And this is a massive game. We saw about half of this Slayer go by, Dave. And we saw ebbs and flows and control on both sides. What did you see out of TSM that kind of gives you hope as a TSM fan, especially knowing that they're down 1-0 in the series to try and tie this up?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword with their aggressiveness. You saw it off the rip. You saw someone like SoulSnipe just kind of go straight to tires, give off that opening kill, and that kind of led to a cascading few deaths there for TSM. But at the same time, that weakness also is their greatest strength, because when that advantage does start to roll for them, they get some damage on somebody, their whole team is already flocking. And before you know it, you're like, wait, there's somebody here, and their teammates cannot retreat. There's times where FaZe, against a slower paced team, would say, okay, we can leave our one player over there to die, let's reposition, get in better spots, but not against TSM. TSM is already flying way behind enemy lines as soon as they have that damage.
Yeah, it's so impressive and untraditional is what I call their play style. When you watch the rest of the teams in the league, TSM had this uniqueness to create chaos in what feels like a very stable situation up until it's not. And when you learn that it's not, it's already too late. TSM are in your face and in positions that make it just so difficult to have success. When they're in their flow state, they are so difficult to take down. And we have seen them create the biggest of upsets throughout even this year, taking down the likes of Optic Gaming in a Game 5. So I'm excited to see if this reset benefits them or honestly brings some negative effect.
I don't feel like they were on a roll. I don't think that they were in any like insurmountable advantageous position. But it's hard to argue that they weren't rolling through at that moment, that they were starting to get a staggered death, starting to push on through. So we're going to have to see what the score is. But either way, I think it's a fair reset for them. They're going to this and realize, all right, we're playing basically a game to 25 or whatever.
Yeah, and fortunately, everybody on that stage has competed for long enough to have gone through some kind of technical error similar to this. So they have been through these storms. They know how to rebound and how to regroup throughout this process. I'm not worried about anybody up there with that. I do want to talk about one of the points we were making about TSM's success so far in that Slayer. And you made such a great point throughout the start of that game too, which was we were seeing TSM really speed up the pace and then immediately slow it down. And from a member from FaZe's point of view, it's like you never know when they're pushing.
You don't know if it's a real push or not.
Yes.
And you know, at some points you might just say, oh yeah, he's kind of dipping over here, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, no, two or three actually charged me at arcade. What's going on here?
Right, it's got to be so hard to keep track of every player on TSM, and I think that that's probably the uniqueness that creates that chaos, is if one person does slip through, all of a sudden the boat has a hole in it and it's sinking underwater. I think FaZe did a good job a few times of catching that, and when they do, that's when TSM look like they're getting caught out. That's when you see the flip side of it. That first player is everything to me, and a lot of that times, the first player is Druk. Tell me how important it is for Druk to have success while this formula does go on, in order for TSM to really benefit and reap the rewards of what Druk provides.
Yeah, that's the nice part is, yes, all these players, first off, that's Taulek on your screen, all these players, first off, on TSM are striking and making big moves, but you are right in the sense that Druk and generally like a SoulSnipe are sometimes some of those most aggressive
the
players.
More common
you know, if you're trying to distribute how much is happening, it's like maybe 40% of the time it's Druk, and
right?
then, you know,
Exactly.
maybe 16% of the time it's SoulSnipe, or 15% of the time Taulek. But end of the day, they all are very aggressive, but they play off of that for each other. Whoever has that right opportunity, whoever has that right flank, and they know to fly. And that's the nicest part, I think, on that roster is you're never like, where was my support? Where's my help? It's like, no, they are flying. They fly as a crew.
And I credit that to what Tony mentioned on the desk earlier. We watched this team, Tony and I, as Fung4 in the esports arena tournaments long ago back in Halo 5 towards the end of it. This team was grinding, and they have so much experience together. I mean, Dave, I wasn't on a team for more than like 6 months with anybody. You were on a team for years with similar players, maybe one change out or whatnot, but these guys, they have so much gameplay with each other. How important is it, or how much of a benefit is it to have that level of time put in with the same crew, to have the level of understanding of when it's time to go, who has your help, when do they have your help, and like the expectations around you are already set in stone.
Yeah, you just build up those expectations. There's something about, you know, you talk about strategy, you talk about what you should do, and then there's actually believing in it and seeing it come to fruition. And you get those reps through scrims, through practice, through building that trust together. You start to say, oh, here's my teammate's tendency. I know that they're going to charge this time. I'm going to follow that up. Or you say, I know they're going to back down this time. I'm going to stay back with them, bait them, help them get out of this position.
Right.
But learning those tendencies, you leave less to randomness. You leave it less to, oh, I'm glad that worked out in that 2v2, and instead you're like, hey, we got the perfect bait and switch here. We know exactly how this is going to play out, and they're going to walk right into our trap.
I can't express how important it is to be on the same page in those small moments. That's where we see some of these teams fall short of where their goals are. We have seen TSM's Sky fly high up into the winners finals, but in order to do so once again, they will have to get back into the series. We see in the bottom left, FaZe needs 26, TSM needs 25. Keep in mind, because this is a reset of the map, the second this thing kicks off, camo will be up, and those players will be gunning for it, and that camo at 26 to 25 could be where the game gets decided.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how these teams play it, because I don't think we're going to be seeing the same level of aggressiveness from TSM off the rip here from someone like SoulSnipe, because, yeah, you can do that at kill number 1, kill number 2,
right.
But they're going to be feeling the pressure of this already. They're going to say, okay, we're basically at like the 25-30 mark here as this game begins.
Yes.
We need to tighten this up, and each player on this map is going to have closer to like 4 or 5 deaths.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to really minimize some of the early deaths, and I think that actually benefits TSM, because we saw a couple of gimmies they gave away to FaZe very early on in that game. I expect a lot more strictness, a lot more ready to finish this game from TSM. Will it happen, though, is the question. And what have FaZe been talking about throughout this break? Have they learned about how TSM were kind of finessing their play style throughout the first half of that experience? And are they going to be able to come out on the fly with a counter to it? I trust no one more than I trust SnakeBite to really have a good understanding of what was going on and maybe come up with a game plan to counter it immediately.
You got 2 solutions. One is, okay, do we play our defensive style? Do we feel like our traps are going to work against TSM here? Or B is fight fire with fire.
Yeah,
start up a couple pushes of your own.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's where we saw FaZe actually get right back into that game. It was a 4-kill lead for TSM, and we saw a push from FaZe towards the tires. They hit B Street, and they went 3-1, and then immediately made it a 2-kill game. It continued to be scrappy. Obviously, TSM still has that 1-kill lead here, but I think even But in that initial game, we saw FaZe starting to do a little bit more on the map, starting to get a little bit more aggressive, saying, we can't just sit back and let them poke holes in what our setup is. Here we go, kicking it off with SnakeBite. Camo actually delayed, I love that. Lucid finds his first kill with a nade, it's all tied up.
And oh my gosh, those nades across the map. All these players from TSM, nobody was making strong pushes off the start. In fact, staying over near the tram side, trying to hold angles, and come back to fight them. One thing that can happen is as an aggressive team like TSM is forced to slow it down, or if they play a bit more conservative, they're not as used to that playstyle. They want to fly. They want that opening.
Two players take down Lucid over towards B. SnakeBite, meanwhile, trying to get this camo and get out of dodge. Able to turn the corner with full shield. He's going to get away with this camo, but a player right above him, Tires, focused on his teammate, able to get that kill. But SnakeBite's surrounded right now. They know he's right next to the Jin, spotted, trying to be naded. SnakeBite tries to get another one, does so successfully, does as much as he can before he gets taken down. The priority from TSM to make sure SnakeBite does not get out of there alive. Costed him a couple of kills, but still TSM have the lead 31-30.
Must have been an issue there. I saw after that last kill, SnakeBite turned around looking at the coach, so not sure what is going on there. Didn't see any lag outs, but we will let the TOs once again deal with that.
Well, back to us, ladies and gentlemen.
Back to talking about me and Wes, which is our favorite subject.
Tough times don't last, tough people do. Remember that, Dave? That's what I kept telling myself every time you beat me in 2008, which was just about every time.
Well, one thing you were bringing up earlier there, though, was, you know, what's it like playing with a teammate for a longer period of time, you know, 6 months or extended, and how do you build that trust and such? We were actually graced and pleasantly surprised today by a surprise visitor in the form of Saiyan. Final boss Saiyan is out in the audience today. If anyone wants to give him a round of applause for all that he's done for MLG and competitive Halo over all the years.
Absolutely. I grew up
what
watching
a legend.
him. One of my aspirations, as sure as hell wasn't you, and it definitely wasn't strong side. So I had a blast looking back on those days, trying to come up and be a pro. Saiyan was on top, and he was so fun to watch. And he was one of those do-it-all players, right? He
did all the dirty work. He could pull off the nasty 4 shots, anything.
He was like a better version of me, I would say. Saiyan left his legacy with Halo and finally returns to an event, bringing his 2 kids, too. You love to see that. Honestly, Dave, you got one of your own now. I'm not sure if that's public knowledge, but Dave Walsh is a father, and that couldn't be a scarier idea, other than maybe strong stuff.
But yeah, prepping that next generation. So special out here. Yeah, just it's also just a reminder of how much time has passed. Like, what? 20 years ago? Come on, man.
You're telling me.
Kind of wild.
My kid's going to have to play against these guys? Your kid better team with my kid.
I will tell my kid he has as many options as I'd like, but yeah.
This guy's off limits. You don't want that genetic pull on your son. Waiting for the lobby to get recreated, and let's talk about some of the journeys it took both of these two teams to get here, right? FaZe going to 2 Game 5s but haven't dropped a series. Would you rather be in that boat? I mean, you've been tried, true, tested, and found successful so far, even if it was against Envy. And maybe some like teams that you don't think should be pushing FaZe to Game 5. I think Envy is a equal opportunity. I'm not surprised that went to Game 5. But on the other side, TSM took a game from Optic, but lost initially to
they took the game off Shopify. Yep.
Lost to Optic, so they've been put up against the fire so far. So the rest of the tournament should be a little bit easier.
I mean, on paper, I actually kind of favor TSM in those scenarios where it's like they, you know, lost to somebody who's absolutely dominating so far in this event. And they still were able to take off a game, still look strong throughout the rest of the series. Whereas I did feel like FaZe kind of pushed too far in a couple series. What was it, Luminon and Envy?
Yes.
That both got pushed to Game 5. And also, not even like some easy Game 5. It's like
no, got
Game 5
bailed
where
out.
SnakeBite, one of them had to go, what, 23 and 10 or something like that?
SnakeBite had to go 23 and like 9 to bail you out. A situation where if he's not on fire, you're probably looking at a completely different tournament route.
Yeah, and that part's worrisome to me because they, you know, at some point there's getting the job done and like going through and saying, whoa, that was a little closer than we'd like. But to have that kind of come through twice, yes, they're strong teams. Luminon's strong. Envy, very strong. But they've been tested a little too hard, and I always try to say that, like, as you go through a tournament, I don't think you really see too many people or teams win tournaments if they have, let's say, 7 or 8 Game 5s in a row. You know, you can only had so many times in the coin flips.
It's funny you say that, Dave. The one tournament I did win, every single series we played outside of the grand finals against Classic, they weren't taking us to game 5. Soldier 187, get out of my way. I have a trophy to hoist. But every series up until that, it was game 5, game 5, game 5. Thank God I had Cloud on my team. He was a monster and better than Neighbor. So shout out to Cloud wherever he is. Big fan.
Well, every once in a while, I guess the coin can flip in your favor that many times in a row.
The saying is, every dog finds a bone. We had to do some digging that tournament, and dig we did. But you don't want to take the hard road every time, and usually there's a more dominant team somewhere in that tournament that will punish you for the mistakes of continuously allowing teams to push you further through the series. I couldn't agree with you more. And right now, Shopify waiting on the winner of this series. They look prime and ready to take on anybody that faces them on that main stage. That was the most impressive winners semifinals I think I've seen in a long time against Space Station Gaming.
100%. I mean, also on top of that, the 3-1 winners bracket round 1 as well. So it's like Shopify just looking really dangerous on the other side of this bracket.
They seem to be peaking at the right time of the year. Although they fell short earlier, they are reigning champions from Salt Lake City, and they want to close this out with a bang. And as we talk about Shopify just a little bit, them being the ones waiting in winners finals right now, Dave, I told you behind the scenes yesterday when I was listening to Last Shot, there's something about that kid, man.
Special.
I was listening to his interview, and he was like, yeah, the HCS has announced that this is the last season of Halo Infinite for the HCS. He goes, I'm focused on these last 2 events. I want my legacy set in stone, and I got chills just hearing that because he's already proved to me everything he needs to prove in order to know that he was a phenomenal Halo player, but he wants the world to ring with Last Shot in their ears.
No doubt in my mind that that will be the case based on what I've been seeing so far this event and throughout this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's refocus back to FaZe TSM. On the side of FaZe, they got 3rd at Salt Lake, but these guys want to win championships. This is a team that got 2nd place every single tournament last year under their gaming brand, Optic Gaming. They have Formal instead of SnakeBite. That changed to me. I mean, they both have pros and cons, I would say, but both 2 of the greats to ever do it. And you know they want to get back to a grand finals. They want to hoist a trophy. It has been so long, it feels like, since Lucid was able to pick it up. And TSM stands in their way currently. A battle for bottom middle, it appears. The SnakeBite trades with Manny. It's a first 1-to-1 trade. It's a absolute brawl over by tires, and Lucid appears to come out on top.
Yeah, Lucid over at the ATM trying to set up this camo. Unfortunately, still a little bit too much time. This is going to allow TSM to get their shields back and prep to contest this. Now, how's he doing? He does send out the Shroud. Kind of blunders there a little bit, but in the end, gets away with the camo. I don't hate the display. I don't hate the extra waiting there just in case there was a grenade waiting on that location of ATM.
So both equipment were down there over towards where the ball spawns. And Lucid chose to prioritize the Shroud because he knew camo was coming up. I love that decision making. Now he gets to benefit from having camo and repulse. It's going to be such a difficult kill to try and flush out of this close situation. He is losing teammates left, right, and center, so needs to get involved in this combat loop. Gets spotted out by 1. Can he win this gunfight? It's a dance, and Druk takes him to the dance with a big win, and that strafe was dirty from Druk.
Yeah, those players knew it was a one-on-one, and who was going to come out ahead? It's going to be Druk. He's familiar with those chaotic scenarios. Lucid didn't really want that battle. Forced in it, had no exit.
How do you even hit that straight that Druk just hit him? They break dance, did all sorts of jip dives.
I don't know all the TikTok dances these days, man. I ain't watching.
Yeah, Druk, obviously big fan. Put him on skates right there, but still. FaZe lead by 3 in the hands of SnakeBite now. He's pushing on the B stairs. First player goes down for TSM. It's trades across the board. That's going to benefit TSM with the lead here. 3-kill lead. Taulek no shield on the outside of B. Pznguin able to finish that kill off. TriPPPeY able to play his life here. And now SoulSnipe gets caught by himself. Can SoulSnipe find a way to get a kill? Yes. Can he stay alive? Reinforcements from Tram are coming. SoulSnipe still no shield. Great grenades from TSM. SoulSnipe still making FaZe Clan continue to focus on him. He does go down. Druk ends up giving maybe a death you don't want. Now 2 members of TSM are stuck in red room. I'm not sure about that push, Dave.
Both these teams are panicking right now, just knowing near the red room or water cooler saying, a battle going on. I'm trying to give my teammates help because there are limited lives left on this map. It's 45-41. FaZe just trying to trade out these kills at this point.
Druk gets the first kill on the Pznguin right now as a
Manny needs to be flying.
Yeah,
I'm wondering why he took a couple extra seconds. Uncharacteristic.
Doesn't want to give up any free deaths. So this is where you see the cautiousness of TSM's push maybe change. Taulek does find the camo as that kill probably rewards TSM with this map control, able to get this camo now. Taulek going to push up B rail right now. Massive responsibility to get his team back in this game. Only 5 kills to go for FaZe. TSM will need 8. And Taulek backing up. FaZe, the information, you see the pings. They know FaZe is pushing. This player from FaZe caught out on the cuts, and he's taken down. SnakeBite goes down, but Manny gets traded from top B rail. That's a big trade for FaZe. If you're able to trade kills while Taulek has this camo, that is awesome if you're a FaZe fan.
We asked what kind of play style they'd be doing. Would they be defensive and try to put TSM in a trap? In this case, where TSM has camo, FaZe is being the aggressor. They're trying to make some action happen across the map, and it's working. They're avoiding Taulek this entire time. They get another pick on the SoulSnipe.
Yeah, the Taulek's camo just ran out, and he's shot 1 player the entire time. Doesn't get anything done with that camo, but does find a kill on the Pznguin here. So maybe, just maybe, TSM's still in this. SnakeBite over towards Cafe. Great listening skills from SnakeBite to be able to prioritize the one-shot target. 3 members of FaZe do go down, 49-47. TSM can afford no deaths. The map stands still. 1 player jumps into tires. Actually, did he stick himself? No. The repulse blow the stick away from Druk. That's the only reason he's alive. Pznguin goes over his head. Doesn't check for him. Druk actually pushed up these stairs. Pznguin looking for these players but can't find anyone. And all of TSM got out of dodge for free.
He ends up reverting back towards his teammates, gets the help in the center of the map, and now all of a sudden, it's a 1-kill game here. TSM could tie this up any second. FaZe just need 1 trade, 1 kill.
Druk had the red gun. That's the highest DPS weapon we have here on the streets. All of FaZe back towards PD. They're gonna be stuck here. TSM can't afford to get caught out at all, but you see this game slows down to a snail's pace. Lucid up by the B. He was up by B pillars right there, but he decided to back up. I did not like that positioning, so it's a good thing that he backed up. A lot of FaZe over here, but Druk trying to find that pick. Can't quite find 3 shots successfully on the Pznguin here, and I mean, Jesus Christ. 1 mistake will cost either team the game, because you know that the second TSM get that first kill, the second one's coming right behind him. Lucid gets caught out, knocked to no shield.
He's called out.
Here
comes the charge.
They get 1. Knocked to no shield. SoulSnipe trying to play his life. SnakeBite in front of him. SnakeBite gets a kill. Who else other than SnakeBite to clutch up when FaZe need him most? And good Lord, how many players do you think were no shield throughout that battle?
That was intense. B Street, everyone was no shield. I like that play from FaZe. As soon as they saw that, they decided to charge out, force some action, instead of just trying to go for a pick for pick. But man, was that difficult. Nobody's resting easy there.
I'm not sure if I like that, FaZe, to be honest. I mean, I guess it works, so you kind of have to like it, but Jesus, that felt risky. Especially the first player getting back smacked by the guy in B that you know is there. He just got Lucid and no shield. But nonetheless, all right, 50-49. FaZe are going to remain unbeaten in Slayers. The only Slayer TSM have lost is 50-49 with 2 resets in the middle of it. So we'll put an asterisk next to that one on the stats. FaZe are going to have a 2-0 series lead. We did see players getting up to use the restroom, probably much needed after that long extended break.
Yeah, iced on both fronts. Taking a little break as we get ready for game number 3. And Wes, as we were getting prepared into the series, one thing you brought up to me is you said, if TSM really want this one, they need to bring it to game 4. You said FaZe have some trouble on lattice. That's a spot to bring this to game 5, get some momentum. Do you think it's possible to get this reverse sweep? But I guess they first need to get game 3. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think live fire oddball is game 3, if I remember correctly, and that's going to be an opportunity, I think, for TSM. If I know TSM and specifically their live fire oddball, they do such a good job of creating chaos, getting some scrappy time, and then all of a sudden you blink and you're down 20 seconds. You blink again, you're down another 35 seconds. So like that time might not feel like it's complete control for TSM, but they do a great job of making it so difficult to hold a setup and also get ball time while that's going on. So I think there's still a chance. And like you said, Dave, just knowing the FaZe members like I do, Lattice is not one of their strong game types. When they see that in this series layout, they know that that's a weak game type. And what that does to a player mentally, something you can probably describe to the fans out there, is when you know your team's not good at a map mode and you see that in the series layout, what does that do to you?
You start to kind of ignore it. You start to focus on the positive. You're like, all right, we got, we're going to crush them game 1. We got game 2. I mean, teams are a little bit more veteran these days where they start to say, hey, game 4 could be tough, but let's look at the strong points. We got game 1, game 3, game 5.
Yeah.
So I think they would love to just close it out here on game 3 and not really leave that up to chance. They don't want to go to their 3rd game 5 of the tournament.
That'd be a good idea. Especially with how close that game 2 was. And TSM, I mean, they were unbeaten in Slayers, FaZe unbeaten in Slayers, and I mean, you could have bet that that was going to be a close one. Maybe not 50-49, though. That's as close as it gets. And in all honesty, I'd love to rewatch the end of that game 2 to be able to see all the different point of views and who else was
weak,
no
who
shield.
overstepped, yeah, who got picked.
Because you know everybody was so involved in that combat loop, and it was all about min-maxing your damage. And unfortunately, it was SoulSnipe over towards the arcade that was really like isolated out in a situation where he couldn't back up any further than what he already done. He bought as much time as possible for someone else to try and get a kill.
Yeah. The only thing you could maybe change there is maybe just not overcommitting that very beginning fight against that tire side. Like, yes, he traded a lot of damage, but it's more like they are going to likely have the angle on arcade versus you're not going to have the great angle on tires.
You're not going to be able to get out of there, right? That's a very difficult position to back up and retreat from. And once he got knocked to no shield, you knew somebody was flying, and it was the general himself, someone that has stepped up countless times since this FaZe roster has come together in big moments, and it is SnakeBite that gets that 50th kill.
Taking a look at this oddball streak here for FaZe. A little rough. 4 out of the last 5 losses. However, able to at least break the curse against Legion.
Yeah, SSG, Envy, Complexity, Optics, the team that I would probably assume beat you on live fire, but the rest of those teams in the same tier, I would say, as a team like TSM. So if TSM walk back from the bathroom and they see this, they're going to have a lot of confidence going into this 3rd game saying, hey,
Lexi took him, we can take him.
Yeah, absolutely. SSG can beat them. Envy can beat them. We can beat this team. And you need some kind of a spark. When you think about being down 2-0 in a series of best of 5, I mean, the hole feels a lot deeper in the moment than what it really is, right? One good map, especially with Lattice on the other side, can turn this series around if you're TSM. Dave, who are you looking at on TSM to create that spark, to light that fire, to get TSM back into Saturday night and extend this series?
Read my mind. Looking at SoulSnipe, who was on the right of your screen. Druk was playing out of his mind. Druk was playing great, but I feel like SoulSnipe, he's had the potential sometimes to be that entry fag. There's been a couple times where he's been that entry death and put them off to the side. He's always danced really close on that edge of danger. And there's sometimes where you get burned by that fire as you get a little too close, and other times where his team is reaping the benefits of that. So I want to see how SoulSnipe's going to do this dance here on live fire.
He is that secondary slayer. We always praise Taulek for his ability to be the primary slayer for a team like TSM, known for their efficiency and objective. It's usually Taulek with the big numbers, but if it's somebody else statistically, it's usually SoulSnipe having a real big game, whether he finds himself with the S7 a few extra times throughout that game. Usually, he can put it to work and actually start to get going. This is going to be an opportunity with not just Camo, but the S7 back on a map where individual skill can really dictate how some of the pace of this game is going to go. TSM have to be able to prioritize that. We saw on the first map, Origin, they weren't really able to get any power weapons.
I mean, there wasn't many cycled when the game's 3.5 minutes. So
2 rockets.
Yeah.
And that was about it. Only 1 snipe, and Druk did some work with the snipe, but not enough to get the job done. I think when you look at an oddball, something that's guaranteed to last at least 15 minutes, you would think, that's going to allow TSM to kind of get a rhythm and a flow going throughout this game, something we haven't seen because we've seen 2 interruptions and a Slayer, and we saw about a 2-minute game of Origin CTF. So
yeah, the most they've had about a 5-minute spurt of playing this game.
Yeah, exactly.
At the longest. So that's a good point. They can't really get into that rhythm, into that rhyme. So we're going to have to see what they do here on this one. And that could also, you know, at some points, winning a game over a longer period of time like that can feel a lot better. Like if they play for 15, 20 minutes straight in oddball and win that versus if they played, let's say, a Strongholds here, won 250-20, all of a sudden they go into a game 4. It's like, oh, well, did we really, you know, we kind of got some good spawns, we got a few kills, but we didn't get to kill them over and over again. We got 10 or 15 kills each versus having 20 to 40 kills each.
A true opportunity. I feel like oddball, when I usually say oddball is really the true test of who the better team is, because it's an elongated win. You have to really outplay the other team over a long period of time in order to accomplish that win. Let's go. The series, or the overlay of live fires coming up, and that means one thing, ladies and gentlemen, the game is seconds away from kicking off, and right now, TSM backs against the wall in the winner's bracket. They want to go to Championship Sunday, but in order to do so, they need 3 straight against a hot FaZe clan team here, and in order to do so, they're gonna have to all pick it up, and I expect this game to be scrappy on the side of TSM. Can you make it chaotic for FaZe? FaZe did a great job of handling the chaos in that reset of the Slayer, but now is a new challenge. On board with TriPPPeY to kick this one off.
And look at this aggressive play, instantly going straight towards that camo side and going for the flank and cuts, but somehow just missing everyone. Gets behind enemy lines, gets the backsnack on Taulek, and he has 3 players in his sights.
Yeah, beautiful shots from TriPPPeY to get that double kill with the carbine there, able to play his life as well. And already FaZe playing in control of the off-ball. They also have camo side of the map control as well, as camo still coming up right now. Taulek gets taken down, and FaZe clan in a very promising spot here early on.
Oh, look at this dancing back and forth, and
Nice shots,
TriPPPeY
TriPPPeY.
hitting everything. That's gonna be 3 down for TSM. I don't know why the ball's not picked up yet. Seems like FaZe are still a little too focused on the camo. That's a little surprising. When you have someone like TriPPPeY pulling off numbers like that, killing all these members of TSM, you want to see at least a little bit more time on that board.
Yeah, I think the original player for FaZe clan that had that off ball went down, and that was a good job by TSM to take him down. TriPPPeY actually shoots once with that carbine, reveals himself top screens there. He's going to have to try and run with his tail between his legs, get his shield back. 3 go down for TSM as he re-engages with the fight, able to take down that 1 player top sandbags, but a beautiful hold so far for FaZe. They rotated towards the tower, and this is going to be such a strong hold to try and break here. TSM finally starting to get up on the map, and 25 points unanswered already for FaZe.
Love that play by TriPPPeY. Just go down, secure that first kill. Now all these other players from TSM trying to hunt him down. Unsuccessful, eventually getting down TriPPPeY, but the damage has been done. Points still scoring on the board here for FaZe clan as they had 3 down for TSM.
Yeah, and the hold stays strong, right? TriPPPeY finds that double, gives his team an initial man advantage, and with that man advantage, 33 seconds and continuing to climb. Here comes the next push from TSM. Needs to be a successful one before this round starts to get out of hand. They are able to take down SnakeBite, SoulSnipe with the initial pick. Druk finds one as well. 2 go down for FaZe. The ball gets played, however, and what a great job by FaZe to make sure that ball gets played. 37 unanswered points. TSM have got to figure out a way to start slaying FaZe in order to have a little bit more control and an opportunity in this first round.
TSM having a flank down here. I like this play from Druk. Makes the jump, takes over tower onto TriPPPeY. That was a team nade that finished off TriPPPeY there. And I'm not sure what the plans with the ball here, because I don't think you have enough control on the map to grab this, but it looks like FaZe are going to grab and drop it and bring it a little bit towards Kedor.
Yeah, Pznguin's in a one-on-one with Taulek right now, but SnakeBite able to capitalize on Pznguin's damage. Also spots the second player that got taken down towards the screens. In the meantime, TriPPPeY finds the second camo of the game. The ball carrier does go down. That's a big kill from SoulSnipe to deny this lead from getting any further right now. TriPPPeY by himself in house with camo. Do they spot him?
Busted.
Yes, they do. Great camo-wise from Taulek. Takes down, negates that camo impact. And a great job by TSM. What looked like FaZe clan could potentially run away with it. FaZe clan now still just up 38, even with the success that they've had.
But luckily, even despite all these plays of outslaying, these moments of FaZe, it's still very much within reach. You're not in a spot where FaZe are at the 70-point mark. It's essentially a one setup game right now. And TSM have this ball in a location where if they get the kills, they could have gotten a setup. But just as I say that, FaZe clan, that SnakeBite ahead of the game, rotating this over towards tower, and they're going to hit them back with a strategy that worked earlier in this game. They're going to play ball position.
Yeah, if you're TSM, you haven't gotten a single camo, you haven't had a single snipe, and still the game feels like it's not out of control just yet. 50 seconds is a lot of time to try and come back. SnakeBite with the ball top tower, guaranteed at least 5 more seconds before he decides to play it. All of FaZe is already respawning. Let's see if they can get to top, middle, and front tower before TSM collapse here.
Look at this. SnakeBite just playing this so perfectly. He's watching his own back, making sure there's no sneaky ways that someone's going to jump up front tower here, and not play the ball too early. That's the key part. Because if he plays this ball early, TSM will grab that ball and bring it garage instantly.
SnakeBite just a chill guy top tower with the off ball. Not under too much pressure. Say that, he immediately gets removed. Stripped of his shield. finally decides to get to where maybe I might start to play this,
I
but no, the
probably would've played
reinforcements
that.
are here. FaZe Clan are here. TriPPPeY 14-3-4 is everywhere on the map right now, and this is a dominant round one, something I did not expect so far.
The oddball greed is paying off well for SnakeBite and the FaZe clan, as even though he's one shot, does not prematurely play ball it, and because of it, this one setup might win round one single-handedly.
He's still up there. He's not going to move. 90 points and climbing. TSM have 2 down. This round's over, Dave. TSM get dominated right now. SnakeBite with 60 unanswered points. This is an entire setup at SnakeBite's time right now. It's dictating sticks.
Such a perfect rotation. That was all a heads-up rotation by SnakeBite, getting towards top tower. And also, members of FaZe doing such a great job applying non-stop pressure to TSM in the center of the map. At no points was SnakeBite worried about someone coming back through mud. At no points was he worried about, did somebody try to make this jump? He had all his angles watched towards dummies, and it paid off so well. But TSM says, we don't care about round one. They get 4 down against FaZe, and we get to see the first TSM setup with Snipe.
The response we needed to see from TSM. This round not going to be the same. Druk, or Taulek, I'm sorry, finds himself to snipe after a perfect 4 down. Unfortunately, Taulek can't hit that quickscope and actually gets caught with his pants down and costs him his life. Camo is up, and FaZe have respawned. FaZe are here to be able to compete for that camo, and it goes into the hands of SnakeBite, and the snipe does as well. When it rains, it pours. TSM's opportunity gets thrown away.
SnakeBite, camo, snipe in hand, still 5 bullets. How does he decide to play this one? Ends up finding Taulek. Gets the first pick. He has the perfect target and distraction on his hand. That's the ball carrier in the garage. TSM can't ignore it. If they do, FaZe are okay with that. They'll scoop up the time.
And look, that push only consisted of 3 members from TSM. SoulSnipe still was just top middle, so he backs up. He wants to play his life and wait for his teammates to respawn before this round once again gets out of hand. But Manny going down is a problem for TSM. Pznguin does get traded out, however, so here comes the next push. The pushes aren't working. SnakeBite shuts down another one. The ball does reset, but SnakeBite's right on top of it to pick it back up. He does have the last player alive for TSM, denying this early ball time in this. So that's a beautiful job by Taulek, I believe it was, to be able to deny that ball. Now they have respawners here to be able to compete for it, but still, it just feels so hard for TSM in every situation.
That was actually just a very unfortunate situation as FaZe was grabbing the ball. They had a player over at tower, they had a player over at garage, so you kind of felt like you'd have one of those routes open.
TriPPPeY continued to do what TriPPPeY's been doing all tournament long. That's main slay right now, 19-6-6, making this series look like it's dessert for his Saturday night. As he's not really concerned with getting the off ball, and if I'm on TriPPPeY's team the way he's playing this weekend, I'll say, bud, I'll get that ball for you. You keep doing your thing.
Let me take that off your hands, my friend. You just keep on slaying, and one weapon that he's been doing so well here is the carbine. We've seen people use it to some effect, but at the start of round one, and was hoping to see a little bit more than a garage, he's been doing it perfectly.
Yeah, it's been TriPPPeY and Frosty that have really prioritized going out of their way for that carbine, and they are reaping the benefits. There's one waiting in the winners finals right now, and there's one that's pretty damn close to joining him here soon enough. Can TSM answer the ring of the bell? Because it's been ringing here for a couple of games in a round of off-ball. It's a no-show so far, but that's a big kill for Manny to maybe start to swing some potential and some momentum in the direction. 3 go down. TriPPPeY the last player alive, of course. TriPPPeY's going to be able to take down Manny, but still the ball in TSM's hands will allow them to probably take the lead before FaZe can even get into house to deny it.
Let's see what Druk decides to do to position this. I mean, he has so much ammo, and he's backing himself in a corner where he has to hit these shots if FaZe decide to put this pressure on him. It's going to be SnakeBite top center. Does he get the shot on him? He does get the body on him. But in the end, like I said, back in that corner. It's do or die, and they die. TriPPPeY gets sniper. TriPPPeY holds ball for a short period of time, but you know he wants to hand that off.
Hello, somebody can get this ball.
Anybody, somebody. I like this play, though. They're not just going to sprint over and grab it right away. People are just going to hand off when it makes sense. We saw errors like this previously in matches where someone had camo. They tried to pass snipe to camo. Both the players died.
TriPPPeY suffers the same fate as Druk with that snipe. SnakeBite with a triple. SnakeBite with the over! Does it himself, and maybe there's a reason TriPPPeY had the ball, because SnakeBite can do it too. That duo so far this tournament, so impressive. SnakeBite erases TSM from the map, and now they have the lead once again in round 2.
And this is a bold play coming out of FaZe right here. They knew the spawns were at green, and they decided to put the pressure there anyways, thinking that they can get the slays and get the ball rotated over towards the green. It does work out in the end as they get some of those staggered kills.
And now Lucid with the snipe in hand. We've seen this for 4 years in a row. Can we see it for the last 2 events? He rips the head off Manny, making this push so much more difficult for TSM. Cuts off dummies. Gets the information that nobody is on that side of the map. Where is TSM pushing from is the question. Front tower is the name of the game for SoulSnipe, erased from the teamwork of FaZe. Now the dummy push comes. Lucid was smelling it just a little bit too early. Can he find more success? The teamwork for FaZe starting to shine as bright as the lights on Saturday night. And this round starting to get out of hand, 81-46. Trick shots are being done. And finally, Tommy Wilson goes down, but not without more time in SnakeBite's hand, and all they need is 10 more points.
We are seeing a different, well-oiled FaZe clan right here, right now. Earlier in this event, some Game 5s, they're looking shaky. They are looking as strong as they've been so far this weekend, and it's just rising.
Not over yet. Still 9 points required for FaZe clan to punch their ticket to the winners finals. TriPPPeY and Lucid both get kills. Here comes Druk. G sliding out towards the camo. He gets knocked to no shield. A repulse up into your face. Easy shots for the PZN. He wants a part of TriPPPeY Rebellion. He's going to get a part of TriPPPeY Rebellion. And 3, 2, 1, FaZe Clan at their hosted event will be in the winners finals come Sunday.
What a dominant performance. Game 1, one of the quickest 3-0s we saw. Game number 3, are you kidding me? What are those ball rotations? Round 1 was 100-1. Absolute domination.
And you gotta love all the little pieces that FaZe Clan put together to paint what was a 3-0 series in the winter semifinals here. They showed some ice in game 2. They showed individual prowess there in game 3. I mean, TriPPPeY kicking it off the way he did statistically, unbelievable. SnakeBite, perfect setups. And that ball time is unbelievable. Over 120 seconds, I believe. Pznguin hitting some big shots at the end. Lucid going off with the snipe. If FaZe Clan want to show their fans that they have what it takes to go toe-to-toe with the devil himself, TriPPPeY Rebellion, I think they've done just that here tonight.
They are looking mighty good. And taking a look at those stats, though, oh my gosh. TriPPPeY, 25, 12, and 8. Pznguin, 21, 15, and 14. You said you want to see a big game out of TriPPPeY and out of SnakeBite. I mean, you saw the OBJ work out of SnakeBite. You saw TriPPPeY put up the numbers. Are you satisfied, Wes? Is that enough for you?
I'm satisfied, but my favorite part of that was Lucid and Pznguin really starting to showcase their individual prowess as well, because in order to actually make this winners finals a great matchup, one that can go the distance, it's going to take all 4 of those guys clicking on all cylinders. I love the setups that we saw. I love the holds, the ability, the teamwork. Lucid's front tower knocking several guys to no shield, every single one of them dropping. He's not getting the kills, he's getting the assists, because FaZe are on the same page where it feels like the first time at a tournament since this roster has come together. They have gotten to 3rd place, but they want 1st place, and in order to do so, they're going to have to go through TriPPPeY. That series will be tomorrow. That series will be an absolute banger. Thank you for joining us on Saturday night, Dave. I had an absolute blast casting that one.
That match was wild, and you're right. This is the best that we've seen FaZe so far this year. We were wondering about, like, hey, when were they going to click? When were they going to look like the well-oiled machine that we know this team is on paper? And that was, I can truly say, the very first match was like, okay, I see it. I have seen it now.
Yes.
Up until then, I've seen too many errors, too many things that just weren't perfectly clicking. But that game 1 and that game 3 answered all my questions.
Let's see if they can keep it up. But I'm hearing big game TriPPPeY is on the main stage. Guy Blaze has an interview with who I would say is the tournament MVP so far, but there's a lot of work still left to do.